The other day, I was at my mom's house on the weekend, and she just so happened to have her loan docs for her property out because we were doing something. My mom got divorced when I was like 12 or something. So it was forever ago, but we were looking at her loan docs because we're trying to get my dad off the loan. Do you know what rate my mom has on her mortgage? My mom's rate to this day is 13.5%. And she's been paying that for a long time. Because of the divorce and everything, she cannot refinance. She cannot get my dad's name off the loan. My dad lives in Mexico. And there's nothing really she can do. We even have a court order from the judge that says my dad's name needs to be removed. And this is going to blow your mind. Banks law trumps city law. They're not going to let her refi without my dad signing. 13%, bro. My mom has paid her house like twice over now. If you were wondering why today's conversation is important, maybe you should pay attention. Because if you're like me, who has about 14 loans, every percent counts, right or wrong. That's why this call is important, okay? Because you don't want to be 14 loans like me or however many I have down the road and figure out that you're paying way more than you should, and then try to fix it. And by then it's kind of hard. It's kind of like baking a cake. By the time the cake is cooked, it's really hard to change the ingredients, right or wrong. We're going to try to avoid those problems because a lot of times we get caught up in the numbers, we get caught up in a lot of stuff, and we don't ever really look at our loan. Like, we're just excited that we got approved, right or wrong. For example, a lot of people are buying cabins in Gatlinburg, and I'm super excited about that, but you need to be checking on the loan just to double, triple check that you're getting the best loan and rates, right? So sit back, enjoy, grab some wine, grab a beer, and let's just run through this slowly but surely. And if you have questions through, please stop me. All right, so the first thing that I'm gonna mention is how do we prep to get the right loan at the right rate, at the best rate possible. One of the first things that I do is so if I'm planning to get a loan in the next 3 to 4 months, I'm gonna try to start prepping myself for it as soon as I know that I'm interested in an area. The first thing that I'm doing is my credit card hacks. So the first thing that I do is I check my utilization for so if I'm going to apply for a loan in the next 4 months, I'm going to ensure that my utilization on my debt to income on my credit cards is very, very low. And I'm going to do this a couple ways. I'm going to use either OPM to pay off my credit cards for the next 4 months, and then I'll just give them their money back. Like, it's no problem. Hey, mom, can I borrow, $5,000 or $3,000 or anybody, and say, I'm going to pay off my credit cards. And then I'm going to pay you back that money with an extra couple $100, like, just because I want to get a loan in the next 3 months. I want to make sure that my utilization is very low. The next thing I'm going to do in regards to utilization is I'm going to try to max out my credit cards limits. So I'm going to call every single one of them, but I'm going to try to max out my credit cards available credit. So I can have a very high credit limit and very low utilization. And then if I have a high credit card, I'm going to try to pay everything off for the next 30 days in 2 ways. When they're due, but also when they report to the credit bureaus. That's sometimes 2 separate dates. So check your credit card. Yes, your credit card due date and report date is sometimes different. Most of the time it's not, but it can be 5 days apart. 2 of my credit cards are 5 days apart. So this is what happens. I pay it off, and then my wife puts on $1,000 on a credit card in a week. And all of a sudden they reported that I'm $1,000 in debt on that credit card, even though I paid it off on time. Make sure that your credit card has as close to zero balance as possible, 90 days straight. That's 3 inquiries, 3 times that they've reported. And you can fake this by using other people's money to have your credit card at zero and then just paying them back right away with cash or whatever. I do it all the time if I'm going to pull a loan. This is just preparing yourself to get the best loan. This isn't a way to pay off credit cards. This isn't a way to get out of debt. This is a way to position yourself in the right way to get the best credit or the best loans with the lowest rates. All right. So the next thing that you're going to do, I'm trying to get through a lot of these. You need to make sure that 90 days prior you have the reason I keep saying 90 days is because 90 days is typically how far banks are looking in regards to your debt. What they call a season. I don't know if all banks call it that. My bank calls it a season. Like, let's look back at a season and see how far. Anyways, debt paid off. So if you have car loans, credit cards, any sort of debt that's going to be reported to the bureau, then if I were you, I would have that paid off. You can pay it off with someone else's money and then say, hey, I'll give you the money back. I just need it paid off for 90 days. If you have, here's a quick hack. If you have a car payment, pay your car 3 months in advance, and then they'll be able to see that you're paid off 3 months forward. And that helps at my bank. I don't know if that helps at everyone else's bank. Remove any negative inquiries from your credit card. You guys can DM me or talk to me about that later. That's just going to be the best way to like position yourself to get the best rates on loans. Moving on. So start requesting information from the banks. So about 3 months before I'm going to get my loan, I started requesting information from banks in regards to their loans structured. And it's all going to depend on if I'm doing a flip, a quick flip, a long-term buy and hold, a lot of information. So I'm just going to ask, can I get information in regards to your Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae loan? Are you keeping it in-house? Are you selling it to a third party? And can you just send me the loan application? Most banks will just send it to you quick and easy because it's just an application online. But you have to ask or request for additional information in regards to the loan, not an application. Most bankers just work like cookie cutters and they're just like, oh, okay, he wants to apply for the loan. It's like, no. I don't want to apply for a loan. I just want to request the information in regards to your loan. What's your rates? What's your closing costs? Do I have to close at a certain place? Do I have to use your title company? How many points are we doing? What's the bank's fees? You can ask for a literal breakdown when applying for a loan. And you're probably thinking, well, I already have the property that I'm looking at. I'm doing all, like, I don't have time to do this, but it's really important because remember my mom's story. You might think that 1% doesn't affect you if you're like, oh, I can get a 5%, right? And it's like, all right, well, what happens when you get 10 loans and you could have got 4%, right? All of a sudden you're paying an additional 1 point per loan. You could be up 10% just by getting 1 point extra on all the loans. So think about it that way, okay? If you plan on doing this long term. The next thing that I like to do is I like to pin banks against each other. I let them know from the jump, hey, I'm requesting additional information from 3 or 4 different banks today. I'd like to see your rates. I'd like to see your loan structure. I'd like to see the way, if I'm going to be applying for a loan, would you mind sending me any information you have before I apply for your loan? This is good and bad. If the bank wants your business long term, they might send you everything. If there's one bank that's got plenty of loans and they're not fighting for loans, then you might not even get anything. So I have found that that happens a lot. Sometimes banks just don't even care. And they're like, no, we got enough people applying, right? Especially like right now, it's like, we're not going to do anything, but it always helps to ask and tell them, hey, I'm applying or I'm going to be requesting information from a couple of loans or a couple of different banks. I want to make sure that I get the best rates and information. Can you please send me over the breakdown of your cost? And this way, you know exactly what kind of loan you're jumping into, right? Like, it's funny, but in my mom's day, her percentage was pretty low. Like getting anywhere under the teens was great. 13, 14, 15% on a mortgage was normal back when my mom got her loan. So just don't have it.